You are listening to Teacher Talk Tuesdays with Dr. Yvonne, author of Look Who's Talking and countless other educational materials. This podcast is a safe place for teachers to share their incredible stories, struggles, and triumphs. The educational system as we know it has changed, but no worries, Dr. Yvonne is here to help. Now, here's your host, Dr. Yvonne.
Hello, and good evening, everyone. How are you today? I'm good. I know I'm late. It is late, but I had to get in here and talk to you all. Had a lot going on. I did something really crazy. I did something really stupid. I needed an oil change and forgot to do it and kept putting it off and well, threw a rod in my car. So been running around trying to do some stuff, still trying to get back together from this accident, going to doctor's appointments, therapy, and all that other stuff. But God is still good. I know there's a blessing behind it all, and whatever it is He has for me, He has for me. But I just wanted to come in because there is just a lot going on. You know, we talk about testing for students, but I want to talk about testing for teachers. We have, I've been in education for over 20 years. And I've gotten certifications in certain areas. I'm certified in music. I'm certified to teach music, social studies, language arts, reading, and science. When I got to Colorado, you know, in Illinois, we didn't have English as a second language, so it wasn't an issue. That was never, ever a certification we had to have or we had to do. So now, once I got to Colorado, that was an issue because of the population in Colorado, where we had a lot of students who had English as a second language, especially those who spoke Spanish. So they have a very high population of Spanish-speaking people and children. So teachers had to be certified in that. Well, Denver Public Schools had a program that was infused in their training in their CPDUs that you had to take as a new teacher. There were so many hours you had to take, and then you became certified in that area with the district. And you didn't have to worry about doing a state test and getting a state certificate, which now I probably wish I had of, but because of what I'm going through right now. However, it was something you had to complete with the district within your first year of teaching. Otherwise, they were going to let you go. And there were some teachers that I knew who did not finish the program, who did not complete it before that year was up, and they let them go. However, it's a good thing because, you know, I finished it within the year, actually before my first year was up, and I became the teacher for the ESL program. I had all of the training, I had everything I needed. So I was the one running the program, which was cool. I thought it was awesome, you know, got a little stipend for it. And I was like, hey, you know, something else to add on to my resume and my belt. Well, I did that for 5 years in Colorado, and it was fun. It was okay. But then I get here to Texas, and that information, that certificate or certification that I got through Denver Public Schools did not transfer over to Texas as being certified to be able to teach ESL. So they have a state test that you have to take in order to be ESL certified. Well, when I first got here, I didn't need it because I was at a charter school, so it wasn't a big deal. But I moved over into a public school system, and they required it, but it wasn't required. They said I didn't have to have it, but it'd be nice if I did it. So I was like, okay. They was like, well, can you take the test over the break? And I'm like, sure. I had just got hired. I was a new hire, so I didn't know where to go. I just figured, okay, ESL, I know this. I did this in Colorado. This test should be easy. I should be able to do this, right? Took the test, didn't pass it. I'm like, okay, wow, what's going on? It's like, I know this stuff. And being an ESL teacher, you think that would be okay, it'd be easy to do. Was not that easy. So I'm like, okay, you know, they was like, don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll go through a program. We'll train you. We'll get you ready for it the next time. And we're going to go through a situation and train you with it. And once you get trained, once you finish your training, you're going to go to take the test. After you pay for it, once you pass it, we'll reimburse you your money. Hey, sounds like a good incentive to me, right? All people like to be reimbursed for that money, especially when you got to spend it for a job. So we did that. We were working on that. Pandemic hit. Study sessions were shut down. We didn't have that. Even though it was online, we still didn't have our study sessions for that. And it just went by the wayside. Well, I was there for another year. classes, the lady who was in charge of the classes left the school and went to another position. So there was no one there to run that program to do what they needed to do. So it went by the wayside. No one said anything. I didn't say anything. They said mandatory, no problem, whatever. Well, before the end of the year was up, it came out that, okay, the school district, HISD, I'm just going to say it, has made it mandatory for all ELA teachers and reading teachers to be ESL certified, mandated, or you lose your job. I'm like, okay, Jesus, here we go. So I put in for a transfer to do something else. I'm like, I'm tired of teaching reading anyway. I don't want to do it. I want to do something else. So put in for a transfer, didn't get it, wound up losing that position and was out of work for a whole year. So I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what you're doing. I'm just going to stay here and do what you have me doing for a year. So I just decided, let me get back into the school system. I love teaching. I love doing this. This is what I want to do. Let me get back in here. It's a different place, a different state. I'm going to go for it. So I go in and I don't know if anybody is online with me or not. Not even on my YouTube page. So, but anyway, I'll get over there in a second and see if anybody's there and so I can communicate with y'all. If y'all want to chime in with me, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. But anywho, so I went back and I started back as a sub in the Fort Bend school district system. And it was going well, subbing, it was going well, doing what I needed to do. And then I got a permanent position, offered a permanent position for where I'm teaching at now, which is 4th grade. And it was for a reading class, the ELAR. And I'm like, okay, here we go again. I'm gonna do the ELAR. And I signed an addendum that said I had to have the test passed. Well, taken by the 18th of February. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Let's do this. So I did. I signed up for it. I took it. And guess what? Your girl didn't pass it again. Now, mind you, this test costs $120 every time you take it. Okay? Every time you take it. I'm trying to pull up my YouTube page to see if anybody in there. And I can't see. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what's going on. Now, I'm just going to let you know. And the reason why I said this is talking about teachers and testing, because teachers have issues with testing too. At least I do. I'm just going to be honest and keep it real. I'm here by the grace of God. I have a doctorate by the grace of God. I have a learning disability. I have a reading disability, and I've always had it since I was a kid. I also have dyslexia. So when I take standardized tests, things of that nature, I develop anxiety. I hate multiple choice tests, hence why I don't give them to my students. I do not like giving my students multiple choice tests. Why? Because I don't like taking them. It's hard for me to take them, and it's difficult for me to do that. So I don't like them. I don't like taking them, and I don't like giving them. One reason, because people who have dyslexia, when they're reading a lot and there's a lot of letters or a lot of numbers, things start getting jumbled up and it's just all get mixed up in there and everything starts to look the same. These are things that I was talking about, like with my class with my students, when I was talking about students who have autism and how some things trigger them and help them not to be able to focus. I was just sharing information and I got wrote up for that because someone thought I said their child was autistic. So they wrote me up and sent it to the superintendent and everybody else. But I'm a serious advocate for students when it comes to education. And I say things because I know firsthand from experience how hard it is to be able to focus in a classroom where there's a lot of noise. I know how hard it is to focus in a classroom when you have anxiety and trying to do something. I know how hard it is to focus when you have a time test that you have a certain amount of time that you need to take it and you're frustrated and you sit there trying to figure out what you need to do. So by no means would I ever try to put a child under the bus, or throw a child under the bus, or call a child out because of a disability that they have, or what parents might think that I'm saying that they have, because that's not it. So we have to be careful, and parents need to understand before you start writing people up and sending stuff to superintendents and things of that nature, get your facts right. Get your facts straight, because I'm never going to say anything that's going to damage a child or damage their ability to be able to do something. So we need to understand it and make sure we know exactly what we're talking about, because I say those things because I know how hard it is to be able to focus and to concentrate in an environment where it's not conducive for learning. Now, according to the state of Texas, students can be arrested for disturbing the learning environment of students. That's the first law in Texas. That's the one of the number one main laws in Texas when it comes to education, is that you can be arrested for that. So I want people to understand that when I say stuff and I do stuff, it's not to harm anyone, but to provide a space, a safe space for my students to be able to do what they need to do. So in saying that, I'm just saying that taking tests, there's a lot of anxiety around it, not only just for kids, but for students. And I'm saying this and I'm bringing this up and I'm talking about this because I've been under pressure to have to take this test. I got another email just before spring break saying, once you fail the test, you have to wait 30 days to take it again. So another 30 days, another $120, more time for me to study. So I got an email saying you have to take this or we're going to set you up and send it to the board and have you dismissed as a teacher if you don't pass this test by April. Okay. That's enough anxiety right there to have a person nervous. Okay, I'm going to lose my job. I'm not going to have a job. I've been teaching for 20 years, but what I do in the classroom and my students' scores have already shown improvement since I've been in this classroom since December, and they've tested and they've already made gains. But yet my job is in jeopardy because of this test. I get it, and I don't get it. So I took the test Sunday, and I studied over the whole break, all break, spring break. I didn't go where. I spent my spring break studying for this test. And to the point where I tried to tell myself it didn't matter. I tried to tell myself I don't care. I tried to tell myself, just do what you got to do. Don't worry about it. Trying to relieve myself of the anxiety that I get when I take a standardized test. And I thought I did well. I did. I was so proud of me when I walked out of there. I felt good about what I had done. And I was like, yeah, I did it. I know I did it. I'm going to get my scores and it's going to say pass. Well, got my scores today. Did not pass. As a matter of fact, I dropped 20 points from the last time I took it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be going up, not down. So I'm saying this to say, test anxiety is real at all ages, at all levels. So when we are pushing kids and we're constantly pushing them and forcing them and testing them and just running tests down their throats and test procedures and giving them tests, it creates anxiety. And then we wonder why our children don't do well on STAR. Because all we're doing now is testing. All we're doing now is pre-testing. All we're doing now is reteaching and retesting. So if we're doing all of this testing, how do you think they're going to do on the STAR? That anxiety of knowing, oh my God, I have to take another test. But guess what? This is the one that really counts. This is the one that the state looks at to see if you're ready, if you're prepared to move on to the next grade level. But we've created such an environment of anxiety that students probably focus. It's going to be hard. So parents, what I want you to do, if you're listening, if you come in here and you listen to this, hear my heart. Please try to help your children find some things to do that's relaxing outside of school. When they get home, that they can take a break, that they can take a breather, that they can just have fun. Because the classroom is not the place to have fun. The classroom is not the place for them to play. The classroom is the place for us to prepare them to be able to take this test and pass it. And right now we have a lot of playing going on. We have a lot of students who are still not focused. We have a lot of students, especially coming back from spring break. I'm having kids sleeping in my classroom. The last 2 days, they've been asleep. Wake up. Our principal sent out a robocall telling parents to make sure your kids go to bed early. School is coming back. We need them to be alert and ready to go so they can be prepared for STAR, so they can get ready for testing. I had literally, I think probably about 4 or 5 students in my class yesterday who slept most of the day while I was trying to teach. I'm constantly stopping, trying to tell them to wake up so they can get their assignment, so they can get the lesson, so they can get what it is that they need, because we're working on writing, and writing is very important on this star because it's on there. And if they don't understand the writing process, they're not going to do well on this test. So parents, please make sure your children get enough sleep. Make sure they're rested. Make sure they're able to have a little free time, some fun at home where, it's just about them. Treat them, I guess, do something. Help them to prepare them to get ready for this test without the anxiety. So, because they can't take STAR over. Once they take it, that's it. Unlike me, I have this test and I can take it. I think I have up to 5 times to take it to be able to pass it. Well, I've already done 3. So I reached out to my assistant principal, and she told me to reach out to the coordinator of the ESL program at my school. I talked with her today, so she's going to work with me and help me and study with me and try to see if we can come up with some strategies where I can be able to pass this test. So even as adults, we still struggle with some of the same things that our students do. That's one reason why I'm teaching, because of the anxiety that I had, the struggles that I had, the things I had to deal with my learning disability, with dyslexia, learning how to be able to figure things out. Well, sometimes you don't get that chance to figure it out. So where they're trying to figure it out now is in the classroom. They don't have time to figure it out on the test. So when I'm giving them assignments in the classroom, when I'm giving them practice, okay, work on this. This is STAR like. This is some of the same stuff you're going to have to do when you take that STAR. STAR is April 20th for reading. Our babies are taking it on April 20th. So we have less than a month. We have less than a month to get them ready for this test. So today, this past weekend, it just showed me the anxiety that I know our students are probably going through when they get ready for a test. And even today, I gave them, they had a writing prompt that they were working on. And I'm like, okay, so we put it in the computer so they could have time to be able to practice typing in the computer, because they're going to have to do that with STAR. Our students don't get enough access to computers to be able to type a response and to be able to get it in and to know how much time they need to do it. It takes them forever because they don't want to stop talking. You can't do that on STAR. You're not going to be able to talk to anybody during the STAR testing. You're not going to be able to have conversations with people. So I need you all to be able to go in here and do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. I tell them, people always say practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you practice a thing wrong over and over again, it's still wrong. But if you practice it the right way, you'll get better at it the right way. So right now we're trying to work on them being able to take a prompt, write the response with their essay using our RACE method, putting in, plot, rise in action, climax, fall in action, resolution, beginning, middle, and end. We're trying to get them to these things so they can start doing it on a daily basis. They can start being prepared to do it. So when it comes time for STAR, it's not foreign to them, because we won't be able to answer questions for them on STAR. Just like me, when I'm studying for my test, I had a practice test and I had answers in the back where I could check to see if my answers were right. I don't have that when I go into that room to take that test for 5 hours. So I've got to depend and rely on my memory to be able to do that. And having dyslexia, it's really hard. And I'm getting older. My brain is just not functioning like that anymore. It is not functioning like that anymore. So, I want to be able to find some other strategies, some other methods that will help me with my test taking skills so I can employ them into your students so they can find some other ways to be able to get past their anxiety. So this was about, teachers. We have issues. We have things that we have to deal with as well. And I'm not complaining. I'm just being real. The things that people don't talk about in the educational system, the things that we have to deal with, the things that we have to go through and still be able to go into work and perform, knowing that my job is on the line, knowing that I may not have a job, at least not with this district or this school. But am I worried? No, not at all. Not at all. It is what it is. So I'm going to be where I need to be. You'll still see me. I'll still be around, but I did find out that that certification is just for those who are teaching ELAR. Well, I'm certified in other areas. Let me teach. I can go back to middle school where they're departmentalized. I can teach math. I can teach social studies. I can teach science. I don't have to teach reading or language arts. Well, they don't have language arts. It's just reading. They just call it English, but it's not. So there are other options for me. But what about the babies who really need that teacher that's going to stick with them and show them different strategies that they're going to need to be able to get over their disability or to get over their anxiety? How many teachers really actually understand that and know how to impart that into their students and be able to help their students and to advocate for them? But the other thing that just really bothers me is that, we have these districts that they want to put these mandates on you to be able to take these classes and do whatever it is you need to do to stay in their district, and you firing teachers and getting rid of teachers when y'all got a teacher shortage. You teachers, you can't even get teachers to stay in a building because of behavior issues. You can't get a teacher to stay in a building because of they don't like the administration. You have teachers who can't stay in a building or stay in a district because they don't like your policies or the way you do things or the way you handle things. But you got time to fire people when you short teachers already. I mean, I'm in a building where they didn't have a teacher for this grade for a whole year. The teacher quit the second week of school. Y'all couldn't get a teacher. Y'all couldn't find a teacher. You mean to tell me is that many people that don't want to come to that school or to that district? But yet now you get a good teacher and you want to fire them because of one little test that you've been pushing on me to take since I got hired in November, going through orientation, coming into a classroom, jumping into a classroom that didn't have a teacher, dealing with the stress of that, going back and trying to reteach stuff so they could have grades before Christmas, stuff that I hadn't taught them, things that they didn't want to do because they had already done it. Coming in trying to fix discipline because there was none, there was no order, there was no structure. But yet I'm pressured on at the same time, trying to deal with, studying for this test, dealing with an accident that I had been in prior to me starting the job, having anxiety with that, my blood pressure up high, having a mild heart attack my first week at school teaching because of the stress. So do you really think I'm going to stress out about taking this test? My health is more important. I did what I could. I did what I had to do. But at the end of the day, I'm not stressing over it because I know I'm more than a standardized test. I know my skills and my capabilities are more than what that test say that I can do and what I am. I had a teacher tell me a professor tell me the same thing when I was trying to get my doctorate because of a GMAT test, because I didn't get the score that he felt like, I should have had and didn't feel like I was capable or I was going to be, or I was a doctoral material. I'm more than a test score. That's what I told him back in 2009. And I'm telling y'all now in 2023, I am more than a test score. A test score is not going to stop me from doing what I need to do. A test score is not going to stop me from going where I need to go. So let's be real. Stop putting so much weight on these tests when you have good teachers. When you have good teachers. Again, that's what this podcast is about, talking about those issues that no one wants to talk about. I can care less about that test. If that's what you want to do, if you want to let me go because of a test, so be it. I'm more than that. So, but our students need someone who's more than just a test score, because you got a lot of teachers in there who've passed that test and can't teach. I'm just keeping it real. The one you hired to take the class at the beginning of the year had taken the test and passed it. And look what happened. 2 weeks in, she quit because she couldn't handle it. So is it really about a test score and you passing the test? No, it's more to it than that. Teaching our students is more than just being able to pass a test. Because in all honesty and all sincerity, that test is nothing like what we deal with in the classroom. And that's probably why I can't pass it, because the stuff that's on there is stupid. It's not reality. It's not realistic. It's not what we deal with on a daily basis. But y'all create these tests and make it seem like, oh, this is the end all, the be all to the end all and everything that it needs to be. No, it's not even reality. Those are made up scenarios, made up situations that will never happen. Just like y'all had these little questions and tests about discipline on the teacher exam on how to discipline a child who's being disruptive and what they doing. Y'all little book stuff that y'all telling us to do is not what's going on in the classroom. We have so many people sitting up high in them high buildings, big office, big fluting offices, making all of the big bucks, making all of this money, dictating as to what we need to do in the classroom. But when was the last time you've been in a classroom? When was the last time you came down and saw what had to be done and what needs to be done and what's going on in the classroom while you dictating what we need to do based on a test? Yep. You got the Texas Education Association, the TEA. They sitting up making all of the rules of what needs to happen and who's making up these tests and these questions. Have you been in a classroom to see what's really happening with these students who are ESL? Shoot, quiet as kept. I got some of the students who are ESLs that speak and write better and read better than the students that were born here in America. The students who grew up here in Texas, who were born and raised in Texas. What about those students that can't read, that do not understand English, can't even write English? I swear, I kid you not, we had an assignment today. I gave them 5 sentences where they had to exchange one word or a phrase for the proper pronoun that would replace that. And I had some students, the responses were she, he, they, we, I, and it. And I had a student who wrote, who literally wrote the noun. I don't even know, it wasn't even a noun. It was the verb that they wrote down in the blank. The first sentence says, Jenny likes to swim. He circled swim and put swim in there to replace it as the pronoun. Come on now, we're talking about 4th grade. But you're gonna fire me because I can't pass an ESL test to teach students to speak English as a second language when I got students who speak English as a first language that can't get it? Make it make sense to me. Who are we really helping? Who is that really helping? I'm just saying, y'all, that's just me. That's just where I'm coming from. And did I make it? No, I don't think I made it. What time is it? No, 12:01. That's all right. I'll upload it still. It's going to hit just like I did last week because it was late. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about, that teachers trying to test. But, it's just a lot of things. Please like, share, click, share this with some other people, subscribe so I can get more subscribers so we can get in here and we can have some conversations. Yeah, I'm looking at the time. And any of my other podcasts, if y'all want to, my book, Look Who's Talking. Ooh, can you see that? Yeah, do it this way. There we go. Look Who's Talking. It's on Amazon. This is my first episode of my podcast. All of the first sessions that were in there were 12 episodes. And we talked about the first subject we talked about. One was what's going on. I love the accountability one. The one that I really love is parents who are educators. That podcast, that chapter was awesome. I loved it. And please, if you need it, it's on my YouTube page. So go click on that and listen to that. Parents as educators. And then also the one title versus entitlement. Yeah, these were some good ones. These were some good topics in my first season. So please, if you need to go get it. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. Look Who's Talking. That's what I titled it. Look Who's Talking. I thought it was just kind of cool, but just to see where I'm coming from, to hear my heart, to feel my heart, to know where I'm at. But I'm just trying to take this thing live. So instead of y'all just listening to me, you can watch me and you can also interact with me and leave some comments and we can have some dialogue, y'all, here on YouTube. So that's why I'm streaming it live from my Zoom to YouTube. so we can have some conversations. All right, y'all listen to this again. Please share it with somebody who has kids who's testing and getting ready for testing, because it's about to go down, y'all. We don't have that much time left for before testing is here. So make sure your students are getting a lot of rest so we can curve and get rid of some of that anxiety. I know firsthand what that anxiety feels like. So that's why I'm here talking about it. It doesn't just hit kids, it hits adults too. So if it hits me, I know it hits them. I know it does. So let's try to help and get rid of some of this anxiety. All right, guys, y'all, it's me, your girl, Dr. Yvonne, the teacher that talks here with Teacher Talk Tuesday. Thank you for joining me for another Tuesday, and I hope to see you again next time. All right, until next time, y'all have a good one. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed Teacher Talk Tuesdays with Dr. Yvonne. Tune in next time for more incredible stories, struggles, and triumphs.